Have you heard what's been going on in Oworonshoki lately? Homes demolished in the middle of the night. No notice, no warning, just gone. Many are calling it cruel and unnecessary. The Lagos state government is facing massive backlash right now over these midnight demolitions. And guess what? Arise TV presenters, Rufai Oseni and Ruben Ebati didn't hold back either. Their reactions were intense. A DC chieftain, Gbadebo Rhodesvivo, was also live in the studio, joining the serious conversation.
First of all, I think the state government must subject itself to the rule of law. If we want to encourage development, we want to encourage investments in a state, the state must show itself to be law-abiding and not lawless. Secondly, when you see the means by which they are enforcing these demolitions, coming at midnight to destroy people's buildings without giving them any time to take out their belongings, we've seen video footage of the police in it with their joint task force coming hand in hand with thugs, as we have seen when I was doing my declaration in just about a month ago, and causing harm to their fellow citizens. You see a process that is not properly planned. You see a process that does not have any empathy associated with it. And then you see a charade where they're now apparently giving out payments to cushion the effect of this thing that they are doing after demolitions have happened. Surely, if you have a proper plan, right, it will start at the local government level where interactions will be done with these communities. There should be a proper proposal for how they will move these people. Where are they being moved to? Where are these people that have lived here for so long going to be relocated to? All these will be done with conversations, payments made before these demolitions start to happen. What you see with this charade of this payment, these checks that are given out, and we've seen videos of those residents coming out to say they are not part of it. The people that they've selected a small group of people to do this charade, right? So these people, a huge population reside there. And if the commissioner wants to say that the process, the buildings, they are illegal, what was Lagos State doing when the foundation and the structure started? Because I keep saying it with all these demolition situations, there is no way you are going to build in Lagos, even in the bush in Ekpe, that somebody representative from government will not come and ask what is going on here, seek some kind of compensation or seek some kind of tip or whatever, right? So the government is constantly aware of building structures that are happening. So how come is when it has gotten to the roof, people have lived there for over 10 years, you want to now come and destroy it? So for me, I feel that we must harp on the fact that we need affordable housing, right? Because what we see around Lagos is an intentionality for housing for the rich. But then 75% of the people that live in Lagos are poor. We cannot constantly be pushing people aside for development, Where is the intentionality to house the poor that can now afford to live in 150 million naira flats or townhouses, which make up the majority of Lagos and which serve most of the staffing requirements, power this economy, right? They cannot all be forced to live under bridges and be paying rent.
All right, okay. Let me talk about that, because the reason that has been given for this particular demolition, amongst the others, is that it's to make room for, environmental or, just to demolish illegal buildings. But there's a bigger agenda, isn't there? Is it urbanization? So what is going to be done with that land? Is it going to be left fallow so that it can be free? That's number one. The second part is around compensation. So the DG of the Lagos State Building Control Agency had said that they'd begun to pay compensation. About 80 people have been compensated between 3 million to 5 million naira. Is this sufficient enough? What is the long-term impact? And how do we prevent demolitions like this that happen at midnight from occurring again?
Again, let's start from your last question. This is absolute lawlessness, because there's a judgment. If the state wants its citizenry to respect the rule of law, they must show that example, that they also subject themselves to the rule of law. Second of all, from my sources on the ground and people that are in that community, they say that land has already been shared. This is potentially going to be prime water-facing development that none of the people there are going to be able to afford to live there. And development can be inclusive.
So beyond illegal structures, there's actually a plan for the land?
There is significant plans for the land.
So there's an interest on that land?
Oh, certainly. And it's going to be extremely valuable land in the near future. But this is the thing, right? You can have inclusive development. Nobody is against development. But people should also have a pride of place. On the most expensive streets in London, Mayfair, there's council housing, there's council apartments in those buildings. Yeah. right? In those buildings. So even if you are living next door to the richest man in England, you also have access, because it's about inclusive development. It's not anti-poor. Yes, it might not be the entire building, but a percentage is kept for you to even have planning approval. And this is what we are talking about. When I was campaigning, I talked about an idea of a luxury development tax. Those funds are supposed to be used directly to fund low-cost housing, right? So that there's a pari passu where you are not just taking care of the rich, you're also taking care of the people that can afford it. Rents in Nigeria are extremely expensive. Rents in Lagos, especially, are extremely expensive. When you're giving somebody 2 million, 3 million, how long did that last for rent in Lagos State? If you can't even pay electricity bills. Exactly. You go and get a self-contained now, even in places like Oworonshoki, your agent fees and everything comes to almost 500,000. Your rent is almost 500,000. You've already gone 1 million.
Yeah.
1 million, and then say we're looking at November. So how fast this year has gone?
So what would compensation look like? Because the Lagos state government, I don't think they can afford to give people 20 million naira each.
The issue is the cost that they are going to sell this land eventually, the cost that they're going to sell the properties on this eventually, can take care of people being compensated properly. You look at the plans that they had for Makoko, the sand filling that was going to happen there. Townhouses and flats were selling for 150 million. That's what they priced their feasibility of that project on. So if you're going to sell properties for that price, and you see how much developments cost in Nigeria now, in Lagos, go and check the price of housing, then surely if you're going to evict or move people out, compensate them properly. You can.
Okay, you've talked about this. Let's go straight to, you said they have shared.
Yeah.
Who did they share this property to? Do we have people involved that they shared this property to?
What?
Secondly,
okay,
can you tell us more about that judgment? Because I think Frim Falan also spoke about the judgment that the government is violating. Has anybody tried to file a contempt? Because this is a violation of court judgment.
Yes.
Or they are going to use their power to possible. Who did they share this property for? Because I've also seen this pattern. I remember how some people came to tell me about the police barracks in Ikoyi. That was how they uprooted people to, and they pay about 2 million there about to some people. That's all gone. I mean, we don't know what they're going to do with that place. That place is all open land now. So increasingly, all these prime positions, because Oworonshoki is actually a prime position with water from about 15 minutes to the island, and it's got a good return on investment. So who did they share this property to? And tell us about that judgment.
So to be honest with you, information I have about sharing properties from people that live there. I cannot speak factually about it. I was there by those meetings. People that live there have said that the Bale has taken some, the ruler of that community has taken some land, government has taken some, or people in government, and then other private stakeholders. And ultimately, it's like pregnancy, you can only hide it for so long. We are going to eventually see and understand who has taken these lands. But aside that, your second question was
the court judgment.
The court judgment, yes.
Tell us more about that court judgment.
That court judgment was supposed to restrain government, like you said when you introduced it, from carrying on these demolitions. Now, the issue with these demolitions, first of all, it started over almost 2 weeks ago, where people, even more than that, when people were coming at night and demolishing people's buildings, right? And you had people, I remember when I went there was a gentleman that was talking about how he's a foundational member of APC, and everything he has in his life was in that building, and it was completely destroyed. Like everything he had in life was in that building, completely destroyed. So there was a judgment that was supposed to restrain that from happening, and for proper dialogue and conversation to happen that shall happen in the first place. Because I believe if you are going to compensate people that live somewhere, it's because you have already done all those processes. They've been carried along. Relocation plans have been met. Even I remember earlier or last year when they were demolishing things, I said, if you want to do this thing, there is no reason why you don't have a positive process where even in their moving of their things, the state can actually support that, right? Because you have actually consulted and you have handled things properly. When you come like a thief in the night,
proven that those people don't own the land, they didn't get the approval, and because if you are saying the state should support them, and you're also talking about a court judgment restricting the demolition,
yes.
So is that there's a fair complete that the people already know they don't own the land, that they will still demolish anyway?
No, I mean, if there is a court judgment against demolition, then, and if the government is paying compensation, then that means people have rights to that land. Now, unfortunately, think about what it takes to even get planning approval in Lagos State, the process of it. Think about what it takes to formalize your land titling. Right? There's a lot of people that own land that has been bought directly from the Bale or directly from families that own that land. They might not have officially gotten the C of O for that place. But the issue here is this: government is supposed to be considerate of the welfare of its people. It cannot just be focused on greed.
The real residents that were paid compensation or phantom residents.
So that's the issue. The people that live there have come out to say that they have not received any compensation. That the people that are a select few that are loyal to the king of that area, that have been in his support for the sale of that land, and they've just been given compensation. Those are videos that they've put out there.
Okay. What will you advise the people to do? Go to court. That's number one. Number two. Now, two sticky points in the demolition of structures in Lagos State. One, ethnicity. Two, class. When the Lagos State government was trying to intervene in trade fair and also Ladipo market in the Mushin area, the concern was that, the Sanwo-Olu government was targeting Igbos, which the government denied. Now at Oworo, people are saying, well, these ones are Yoruba people. They even voted APC during the election. Even the Bale, who is said to be complicit, is a Yoruba man. So does that cancel out, the ethnic argument, which is usually, very strong in these matters in Lagos? The second thing is class. Now, this same Mr. Tokunbo Wahab has pointed out that, look, there are buildings, blocking drains on the island, even in the heart of Ikoyi and parts of Victoria Island. Now, the concerned Lagosians are saying, why is it that nobody has demolished houses in Victoria Island and Ikoyi? And to your point about how some of these policies are anti-poor, do you think that, again, those who make allegation in that direction are right?
I 100% agree with that in relation to class and Lagos being a society that is currently driven by greed and anti-poor policies. Everything from Eco Atlantic to all these developments, that even if you look at the indirect consequence of the sand filling of those places and what it did to the Oke Alpha communities, what it's done to communities in Korodu in terms of flooding, there are direct and indirect consequences of those kind of buildings and development that is very pro the wealthy. Now, the issue here is this: when you consider how Alhaji Lateef Jakonde was consistent and intentional about providing affordable housing, we've not seen that kind of drive in Lagos for a very long time.
Lagos claims they are building all these affordable flats and everything in different areas, and I've seen pictures where the government keep opening them.
Yes. Now the question is, what is the cost of that? You can call something affordable, but is it accessible? Have you already sold most of it to your friends, to people that have access to it, as opposed to creating some kind of lottery transparent system where the common man can actually potentially benefit from it? It's just like the example I gave of having council units in some of the most affluent areas. These things are given in a transparent way. It's not about who you know or how well connected you are. And we must start to embrace this intentionality of not just caring about a certain class. Development cannot just be, Lagos cannot just be Dubai, when 75% of the people here cannot afford to live in Dubai. And there can be beauty in low-cost housing. There can be beauty in that intentionality. And that's what we've been pushing. When we talk about targeting different tribes or targeting different areas, there is most likely some truth to that. But for me, more than anything, I feel that when a government has sat back and a building has gone all the way to the roof, and they don't punish themselves for that neglect, for that dereliction of duty, but it's always the citizenry that pays the price for their incompetence, that is very wrong, right? We've not seen the state hold itself accountable. I mean, I've been in construction for a long time. Even in the heart of the most gated estates, Lagos State will find its way to come and meet you on site. Oh, health and safety concerns, or let us see your plan approval. Why do you put sand here? So how is it possible that they allowed for development to go up all that way? And speaking to your point, in the heart of VI, I gave examples when this whole demolition thing first started on Arise. There are several buildings that are owned by wealthy people in this country that are sitting directly on a canal. When you look at the historical width of the canal compared to what it is now, they've significantly reduced the size, but nobody will go and try and demolish that. And I'm saying that thoughtfulness, that care should be extended to all Lagosians, not just the rich.
I have a question in 1 minute because our time is fast spent. Because we talk about ethnic coloration of decisions like this, which should not be the case. I want you to speak about, recently, and I know you have been attacked saying that you're tainted, you're not full because of this and that. We have seen a rise in intolerance amongst ethnic groups. What do you have to say about this? How do we solve this situation? How do we make it better? Because it's reached ahead.
Okay, so my general thought about that is that it's a distraction. It's a distraction from the real issues that affect all of us. The thing that unites all of us currently right now is hardship, suffering, struggle, the reality of Nigeria. But if we are not talking about that and we're wasting time bickering amongst ourselves about who is this tainted blood, who is that, all of us still have that same stuff. We're all going to go into traffic together, right? Now, that being said, there is also a group of people that are almost Nazi-like in terms of extremism.
Yes.
And these people are not necessarily paid to do that. They are a fringe group that the ruling party seems to co-opt when they want to bring division into our politics. And it will still touch everybody, because good governance and its implementation is about merit, it's about good ideas, it's about empathy, it's about character. And these things are not determined by tribe, right? Because everybody eventually is affected by it.
As we begin to wrap up, very briefly, one answer, one statement answers. Are you running in 2027? And on what platform?
So what do you think? Was the Lagos state government right to carry out these demolitions, or did they go too far? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.